Hi, everybody. I'm Jack Klemeyer, and I'm a John Maxwell coach, and I've been coaching for a long time. I don't know how many years, long time, in double digits, I think now, and became a John Maxwell coach in 2015 when John Maxwell came to Indiana to speak at the Indiana HR conference, and I was fortunate enough to be selected to speak there. And so I thought, well, I'll become a John Maxwell coach, and he and I can pal around. How naive was that? But it's one of the best things I've ever done for my business is just to be associated with John Maxwell. Some people may not. Does anybody not know who John Maxwell is? Show of hands if you don't know who John Maxwell is. Oh, that's cool. Neat. Anna is also a John Maxwell coach. So Anna, thank you for being that. And so, thinking about today, what to share? Great presentations from Rich, great presentations from Carla. Carla's energy is just so contagious, which is a good thing. It's not COVID, it's good stuff to catch. So catch her energy. It's awesome. One of the things that I do with clients that I wanted to try to see if I could share virtually, and I've never done this before, so this may not work, and if it doesn't, we'll learn from it. But Maxwell has a thing called the leadership game. And in the leadership game, what happens is you get a team or a group of people around a table, and they actually they roll a die. And when they roll the dice, it's one die, it's different colors on each side. And then whatever color comes up, we draw a card from 6 different cards. And how you win at this game is you win by giving points away. So each player can give 2 points away to someone. I, as the facilitator, can give 1 point away. And then there's a card that you can draw from, which is called the gold card, which allows you to get 3 points. And so however many points you have at the end of the game are subtracted from the points you didn't give away. So if you come up with a positive, and then I usually give away a book or something like that just for fun. But I thought we'd just try to play maybe a round, and I picked out just randomly 6 different cards here because it's a 6-sided die. And so this maybe 1 through 6, and we can't pick 4 yet. So just put the number in there, 1 through 6, and we can't pick 4 yet. And I'll explain that a little bit later. But just put a number in the chat box, if you will. So 2. So Anna picked a 2, and so I chose 2 to be yellow. So that would be from the organization card. And so from that, what happens in the back of the card, it gives you what to do. So you're usually playing this around a table with a group of people. Okay, stop with the numbers. That's good. Okay, hang on. And so what this card says, what we're going to do is use a sticky pad, or we just talk about it. But you don't manage your time, you manage your life. What are 2 habits or priorities that should be changed now, which is great timing, in order for you to achieve the results you want 1 to 2 years from now? So what would be 1 or 2 things, 1 or 2 habits or priorities that should be changed now that you have to get the results that you want 1 or 2 years from now? So you can either type that in the box or just make a note of that. But what happens is when you're working with a team is people forget that they're divulging information about how they believe and how they act. And they actually get into the game, and they actually answer questions like this, which then allows the team to get to know each other better. But it also allows me as a facilitator to diagnose and say, okay, we got some issues going on here with this. We don't have priorities, or we haven't thought about that. So we need to have a conversation about that. So it opens up ideas and conversations. So somebody write something down for themselves about what are 1 or 2 priorities you need to change now to get the results that you want. So that's part of it. This game is taking action. So just think about to yourself, make a note. And then the next number that came in was as Carla said, she's invited to come make videos and audio recordings. Cool. So cool. I'm going to take you up on that, Carla. So then number 3 is green. Green is personal leadership. And so it says, share your response to the following question or statement with the rest of the team. When you get kicked in the rear, you're out in front. When others criticize you, is your first reaction to dismiss what is said, defend yourself, or fight back? So you can unmute yourself and answer that. When you get kicked in the rear, you're out front is the quote. When others criticize you, is your first reaction to dismiss what is said, defend yourself, or fight back? Thoughts, anyone? What's your first reaction? This is the participation part of the game.
I'll jump in. Yep. I'll jump in, Jack. So my first reaction is I'm horribly embarrassed because then I've inconvenienced somebody or something along those lines. So I don't know which one. Maybe defend myself. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Okay.
I feel very vulnerable at that point.
Yeah, right. And so sometimes this doesn't happen where you may not defend yourself out loud. You defend yourself by by retreating or going somewhere else, or just shutting that person out, right? So those are the three common things that happen. And so as a facilitator, I can say, hey, that was awesome transparency, right? So I could give you a point for that, is how that would work. And so you would be 1 point up on everybody else. So the next number was a 5, and so 5 is dark red, which is the leader's card. And so the leader's card says, spend the next few minutes discussing amongst the team the following question. Lead yourself. How is balance or imbalance in your personal and professional life related to your ability to lead? So we would have a conversation around that topic. We'd have a conversation about how balance or imbalance is related to your ability to lead. And so we would talk that out and see how that would go. And that I would control the conversation to last 5 or 7 minutes. Usually when we play the game, it takes a couple of hours. And it's amazing how when we go around the table, or each person passes a die and we roll the die around the table, people don't realize how fast time goes. And so they're into the game, and I'll say, we've been playing now for 90 minutes. And they'll be like, are you serious? It doesn't seem like that, because everybody gets immersed in the game. It's a unique thing that I can do. So just as an offer, I would love to do that with any of your leadership teams. If you have a team, would love to do the leadership game with you. Let me come back and close up the loop on why I said no blue cards. The blue card is a trigger card, and usually that's played after 5 people have pulled a card from the stack. And the trigger card is kind of a review card. And so you go back and say, okay, what has been discussed in this exercise so far that needs to be revisited? So that's just one example of a blue card. So if a conversation came up and I moved us along, and maybe I moved us along too fast, or if somebody didn't feel like they were heard, they could bring up what needs to be addressed in this exercise that needs to be revisited. What do we need to talk about? So it allows you to, even if a topic's broached but not dug in deep enough and people want to talk more about it, then they talk more about it. The times that I've played this game, one was with a sales team and a customer service team, and you would think those two would get along really well, but they didn't. There was a lot of animosity because sales made promises customer service couldn't deliver on. Customer service was throwing sales under the bus. And so when we played this game, what happened is they were able to see that the differences, they were all very similar in their approach, and the things that they talked about were all very similar, and it helped them gel as a team better. And then it also helped them go to a place to have better conversations after we played the game. So it worked out really well. So this the pink card would just say, law of the picture, people do what people see. Is there any area of our company where we say one thing and do another? So those are the kind of questions that come out in the leadership game. And I was going to do something else, but I just felt inspired from what Carla and Rich did. That I wanted to share the leadership game. And I don't know if I did it service or not, but it's an awesome experience for a team to be involved in and to play with. And again, they forget that they're telling me and telling whoever's helping me facilitate the secrets of their, what goes on behind closed doors while the game's being played. So I'll stop there and if you have any questions or whatever, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions or challenges. No, I think the answer is no to that one.
Yeah. Oh. Is your background in HR? You said you met him at a HR thing you were speaking at.
No, but I've been fired before. No, and I have actually. But my work with HR was when I worked with an insurance company, and I was in charge of recruiting agents. And so I worked really closely with HR. Carla has a really good HR background. She's done a lot of stuff with HR. And so I work with a lot of HR teams, because usually those folks are pinched where there's a leader that's not leading. And John Maxwell has a quote that says, everything rises and falls with leadership, or on leadership. Everything rises and falls on leadership. So if there's a challenge somewhere in the company, it's a leadership issue somewhere. If sales are down, it's a leadership issue. If there's a rift between customer service and sales, it's a leadership issue. And so I worked on the leadership side and developing the people that came on board. And I worked with my HR folks to make sure I didn't break any laws or rules, because they helped me do that. But they were great. We were a great team working together, because I relied on them a lot for things. But yeah, so no, I don't have an HR background, but I work with a lot of HR teams.
So Jack, I know you do have an NLP background, which has always been kind of cool, but now everybody's starting to know it's cool. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So when I went from personal production into leadership, I had a consultant that I'd hired. I'd gone through a divorce, and I don't know if you've ever been through a divorce. I hope you haven't, but you get kind of distracted when you're in a divorce. And so I'd hired a consultant to help me get my agency straightened out before I went into leadership. And I asked him, his name's Tim Hosey. He's still around. He lives in Bloomington. And I said, Tim, what do I need to do? And he said, you need to learn NLP. So I had no idea what it was. It stands for Neuro Linguistic Programming. It was popular in the 70s and 80s. I learned it much after that. But what it does is it helps you understand what you think, how you think. And so for example, if you're not getting the results you want, many people look at, well, you're not getting the results, let's try this different action. And when you do that, you get short-term change. What you have to figure out is, how are the people thinking about what they're doing? Because when you change the thinking, you get long-term change. And so what NLP helps me do in my coaching practice and mastermind group facilitation and training is it helps me uncover limiting beliefs, low expectations, or ineffective strategies. I believe it all boils down to those three things. It's either a limiting belief, you don't think you can, you don't think you're good enough, you don't think you're resourced, or it's a low expectation. I used to say low standard, but I think it's an expectation, because expectations create standards. Over time, if I have an expectation of things are going to happen, that becomes my standard. And then the third thing is an ineffective strategy. You're going about it wrong. So those are three. That's how I use the NLP, is to try to diagnose what am I dealing with here, and then how do we address it. So thanks, Carla, for bringing that up. So it's kind of mysterious because people don't know that much about it. I use it probably more than I realize I use it. I called one of my mentors in January, and we did a little webinar on NLP, and that was a blast because I got to go back 15 years and play NLP again, and that was really, really fun. But yeah, so yeah, great questions. Any other questions? So think of me as a resource if you want to bounce an idea off. Kind of like Carla said, we've been in groups together before, but just, think of me as a resource. I'll be more than happy to answer a question. I do a monthly lunch and learn webinar called Leadership Insights, and it's on the first Tuesday of each month, and that you can get there by going to myleadershipinsights.com. And so this month, in May, Tom Richardson and I are going to be talking about reflective thinking, how to use the power of reflective thinking. So that's what we're going to do. So yeah, thank you. Thanks. Thanks, Rick. myleadershipinsights.com, and go there, and there's no charge for it. It's just a way for us to learn and grow and share. So we do that, a couple other things every month. So right now I'm taking a group through Leading Through Crisis. So that's a fun experience too, taking folks through that. So yeah. Thanks for the opportunity to be here, you guys. Appreciate it.
No, it was fantastic. Thank you all for presenting today. If you could, Jack, just include your email or the best way of contacting you there in the comments.
Yeah.
I personally was curious, the game that you were playing with us, was that something that you created, or is it something that you
No, so there were a couple of John Maxwell coaches in Texas that's a husband and wife team that created it. And so when I first saw it, I thought, well, that looks like that'd be fun. And so then I got it. And it was amazing. Just every time I've played it, people have just been wowed by it, but not by the game, but by the experience they have while playing the game.
Yeah.
And that's what's really cool, is because I just have to facilitate the thing. And quite frankly, it's pretty easy work because I just facilitate the fun, and I like fun. That's one of my values.
You just figured out why I'm hosting today.
There you go.
Honestly, it's amazing how much you can learn if you can trick people into having fun. So we are right up on the edge of 4 o'clock. It looks like even there are a couple of people who've jumped off. But are there any additional questions to any of our presenters maybe that didn't get asked? And again, I'm going to be taking the video that's being recorded today, and we will get that up on YouTube as quickly as possible. Did you mention that, Robin, the address of the YouTube account yet, or will that come out in future communication?
I'll probably send a member news out well, I'll probably send it tomorrow, and it will have a link to the video where other people can see when they can't participate. And yeah, and whoever we're going to highlight next week.
Yeah. Fantastic. I hope this is doing for you guys what it's already doing for me, is that when we finally do get a chance to be back in the same building together, that we can all kind of hit the ground running and get some good things done together. So big thank you to you all. And that's all I've got. Roxie or Robin, do you have anything else?
I just want to thank Craig and Roxie because they've done all the work on this.
Thank you.
And also for everybody that participated and those who were willing to be the first ones to present, because I know sometimes you're like, I don't know exactly what all I should talk about because I've not seen one before. So thank you guys for being willing to be the first. And again, I think, like Craig said, you know, I've met everybody, but you guys haven't met everybody. So now you'll see somebody walking down the hall and be like, oh, I know who you are, know something about what you do. And I think that'll be great.